Well, um, today, like I said, we'll be doing a little market overview normal at the start here, and then we're going to be going into kind of like a goal setting class. So I have some a trading view layout set up. I will actually repost this at the beginning. It is reposted. So you can do that. This is just like a kind of rough template of some of my overview things and some questions to ask yourself. This way you can set notes within TradingView so they're easily accessible, as well as it's a format that will easily be transferable to a personal Discord server to put in with your journal or Google Docs or Google Sheets if you use that as well. I will precursor it and say one of the main things for goal setting that you're going to need to do is be reviewing last year, right? So we all have very in-depth journals from last year, right? So it should be very easy to go and pull information. If that is something that you're still not doing, I want to once again say it's not an option. If you want to make money long term in this game, it is a requirement. You must be journaling. You must be taking notes. How aggressive you do that can decrease as you improve as a trader, but it is the only way to improve. And if you are not journaling, that should be your only first 2-quarter goal, is to journal every trade. That should be the only goal. If you're still not journaling, you're not even at a point where you should be thinking about P&L whatsoever. You should be focusing on journaling because it's the only way. It is a requirement. So that is kind of an early precursor. But we will go into kind of market overview, look at the structure, what occurred today, and what we're looking for the rest of the week. So market structure has not really changed, honestly, since the roll gap early December. So just about a month. We have about or just over a 3-week balance as our primary distribution. That is quite well defined. Last week on Friday, you saw a test down to our lower distribution, and today we accepted back in and made a full oscillation. Really great trend day. We will talk a little bit about today as well in our goal setting, because I know some people really struggled transitioning from an oscillating market to a trending market. So that can be something to set as a goal, and we can go over some ways to do that properly. But for market, so I have 2 paths kind of on the chart here that seem quite probable to play out for the rest of the week. One being our balanced rotations come back in our primary node here. And the second being our bullish look. Both rely heavily on our 4770, which is our approximate 3-week POC here. Holding this node, as stated here, is going to be very important for bulls and establishing value back in this area. On Thursday, Friday, and into this morning, we had a large area of trapped buyers down in this 4750 area, which were freed today. And now trapping sellers below, which is a good look for bulls. Once again, any pullbacks to a higher degree for a bullish move, we really want to see 4770 stay supportive. Our most bullish look would be holding into this edge at 85, which was talked about today by both Sig and myself. If these can hold on any pullbacks, we should see a return to the selling nodes above, with your strongest selling node being at 4830 up through 40 into these highs. It is labeled here on your chart for you as well as strong sellers. If we can look in, same idea as this, we want to see an oscillation up and a hold of about 20 to down into here 15, and then look up towards 4850. That is going to be kind of your first extension target. We did not quite get there. Obviously, sellers stepped in the 30s last week of the year, which is fine. But still, I like this area for kind of first target above. Now, if we cannot build in this node, then I'm looking for these more neutral oscillations. So what I'm actually going to do to clean this up a little bit, where is my path? I think it's this one. Yes. I need to organize that stuff. Is look for sellers to still be up in this node, right? We know there are strong sellers at 48.30. This can still be considered a selling node as well above. So tests, and this is written in intraday ideas, into this 15 to kind of 20 area. If you see initiative sellers, right, we should expect some two-sided trading back down to retest our primary balance node. Pivot targets are exactly the same, with 85 and 70 being your two primary looks. If we trade back down through 70, we should expect a test back into these lows. So 35 to 40 is my preferred kind of area to look for buyers. If we see this area, this 35 to 40, then after, on a neutral oscillation back down and through, turn into offer. If this area gets offered, we can still start looking down below. Now, for a couple weeks here, I've had this triple distribution labeled as a singular distribution. I still prefer to look at it that way and recommend you guys do as well. We had one VPOC at 02 that got cleaned up Friday morning. Strong buyers off. There's still two VPOCs below. Been talking about this for a couple weeks now. We can expect buyers in these areas, but treat this as a full node oscillation kind of thing, where if we trade down, we should see 46.80 test, look into the node above on a re-offer. We then look down into this VPOC, back up, same kind of ideal. Did that top VPOC lose value since it got tested? Yes and no. Okay, so the way I'm going to look at it is initial reaction. It's been cleaned, right? We've already been cleaned up. So I'm not going to view that as a place that, must be tested in terms of value. But what I am still going to rely on is understand, okay, there are initiative buyers here. Cool, check. But we still do have structure here that we can play off of, as well as when we're viewing this triple as a single distribution, this is just our test in. Right, so this 02 does not necessarily lose value. I'm just viewing it differently than when the VPOC was still there. Right, that test has happened. Does not mean this node is no longer a buying node. It is, right? That is still true. But we've confirmed it now. So it's like the second step of the VPOC. We have not confirmed this to still be buying, right? Or this. We know in the past it was, but we need to see a test and then a move off to establish that. So once again, kind of clear English on that. Did it lose value? No, just the definition and the interaction I'm looking for has changed slightly. It's the same idea where, if we have a balanced day, this test will be important. This test is important. And now this test, I start to lose kind of importance, right? And then now we're looking for liquidity grabs. Or a trend to start off of balance. Same kind of principle. Good question. The last thing that I kind of noted in the newsletter as well that's on the chart is this anchored VWAP off of our roll gap low. Kind of used it as just a way to gauge trend as well as value. You can see it was supportive here, it was supportive here, and then became actually quite good resistance during last week's sell. Little to no reaction today as we pass back through it, but worth noting that we did see a shift now. So any pullbacks, we're going to look to see if this has changed to be supportive. More of kind of like a trend indication. as well as a value shift indication. Another one that you could be observing is off of these all-time highs. I think this is off the high. Yep. Is looking if this can hold, right? Still strong value. This does, I mean, you saw that one was at 80, and this one's sitting right below at 60. So they are kind of banding in our primary pivot area already, right? But something to keep an eye on, not necessarily to take trades on or off of, but to see trend holding, value holding, or if we see a shift. Any kind of questions on market structure? On any of the notes on the chart? Be cool. Let's keep typing. Give it a second. Looks nice to me. All right. Keep eyes on intraday ideas. This will all be spelled out for you, basically on an hour by hour basis. But yeah, if there aren't any questions on kind of a market overview and structure, we can get into kind of the meat and potatoes of class today, which will be goal setting. Hi, so we want to see a break into the upper node and then a retest of your green pivot for a full bull case. Well, you have two options, right? Oops. Where is my path? That's that one. I'll turn these off. Not green. Well, green, yeah, somewhat. This is just established buyer value, right, where our trap buyers were. So, in this zone, 70 is your pivot, 85 is your first kind of trigger pivot area. I should not use the word trigger there. But yeah, either 85, 70 must hold, right? Why? Well, we have our balance node. We want to see POC or value high hold to search higher, right? It'd be pretty straightforward for node plays. This node itself has actually been quite straightforward with looks in, rotating, looks back in, rotating, right? Understand this is value. Sellers, buyers, within node, buy, sell, pivot. Just normal node structure. Nothing fancy. It's very similar to like this kind of action, right? Beginning of December. Look in, balance, search up, retrace, 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 retrace. That's all we're doing. We need to either accept down here or accept up here for something to change. Good question. Did I answer your question sufficiently?